Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to my channel and to today's yin yoga practice where we work with the connective tissue and the fascia lines in the body to unravel some tension. So this is a wintering practice which feels quite apt right now during those winter months where things can be naturally colder if you live where I do. When we're out and about or we're not wrapped up quite so well, or it's just cold at home, naturally the body can start to tense up a little bit. Or it might just be that you don't like the oppressive months of winter, especially January and February after all of the kind of fun and planning that goes into Christmas. That can feel quite heavy in the body. So we're going to introduce a little bit of lightness back in with this practice. We're going to mix a little bit of gentle flowing movement in between those shapes that we do. Please remember though to work on the edge of stretch when we come into any pose or shape because we're holding it for a little bit more time. In addition to just allowing the connective tissue to release, as part of that, the mind might wander a little bit. Sometimes that's a good thing. We're always keeping ourselves so busy that the mind doesn't always get an opportunity and it races when we go to bed. So sometimes we have to provide that platform. Other times though, it's not so helpful and we are drawn into things that aren't so great for us right now, and that's fine. So remember to use the breath as an anchor when you're in those shapes, just to draw yourself back to the body so that you can really kind of listen and lean in and work from the body up and out. So to get started, we're just going to place the hands behind us and the feet flat on the floor and just windshield wiping the knees from side to side. You can use your breath as you do that, as you inhale one way and exhale the other way. Don't worry if you're a little bit quicker or a little bit slower than me, that's all good. But we're not pausing at the moment. We'll get to that with our yin shapes in just a moment. But working into kind of a little bit of a spinal twist here to warm things through. The body feels quite happy when it's warmer coming into this type of practice. The sun is shining outside, but I've got my fluffy socks on and a nice base layer of a rug. Okay, but you do what works for you. I've sometimes done this after a long hot bath as well, and that can feel quite nice, especially for a wintering practice. Come to center and just kind of sit back up, maybe just throw a few circles in there. We're going to start with a slightly more grounding element to the shape and supported with a yoga bolster. You might be using some pillows wrapped in a blanket or a big cushion if you have one. No right or wrong, just use what works for you. But we're going to be using this to support underneath the body in a supported child's pose. So it's going to look a little bit of something like this. You're going to draw the bolster or your cushions in between the knees and just creep the hands forward to find your way down. So getting really connected to the earth beneath you and just starting off in something a little bit more supported at the beginning of your practice so that you can settle in. So fidget as much as possible here and just maybe you could draw the knees together if it's going too far in the hips for you, and just allow the head to rest. And you can just lengthen the arms or you can draw them back to you depending on what feels good. For me, this is drawing a little bit of tension into my shoulders, so I'm going to take the elbows out and come to the side like so. And as you come into each shape, just take a moment to connect to the breath. So this is how we anchor in. Just allow the exhale to be a little bit longer than your inhale. That's going to help us get into the parasympathetic nervous systems. We want to connect in with that rest and digest to slow things down. That way we can get really settled. Just take a moment to check in, just in case you're clenching in the jaw or something that means you're not quite relaxed in the shape. Make any necessary adjustments. We're about halfway, so I'm going to turn my head to the side. And then just anchor back into the breath if your mind has wandered. And slowly start to rise back up. Again, just take a little bit of movement as you rise. It just helps release you out of your shape. And it's a good shape to come into when you want to just kind of step away from the world and retreat, but kind of get connected to your space around you. Okay, we are going to move into a spinal twist. You might want to keep your bolster or a block or just something to rest your knees on either side of you. I will use this one as an example. So I'm just going to come down onto my back. And from here, I'm just going to bring the bolster a little bit up to the side. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. Now, you don't have to cross the legs. This comes down to how much tension you carry, especially in the low back area. And you're going to have to find something that works for you. So you might just take the legs over to one side. If you cross the leg like so, you can also double wrap if you want to. But we're going to lift and take the hips over to the opposite side of the mat, to the right side. That gives us a little bit of space to roll the knees down. So we want, where possible, the shoulders to remain connected to the earth, to the mat beneath you. So I'm going to roll this bolster in a little bit. That's going to support my knees, stop me from trying to roll out. And then from here, I can relax down into this shape. You can have your arms all the way out or just cactus them and just do what you need to. I put my left arm in because my blanket doesn't go that far and the floor is quite cold. And I want to feel a little bit cozier. That was the point of putting the blanket beneath me. You could also have a blanket over you when you're doing any of these shapes as well. And to complete the twist through that line of the body, you can turn the head into the opposite direction, like so. And then again, just settle into your shape so that you can just breathe into it and allow it to do its work for the next few minutes here. Just bring your head back to center. Draw the arms in towards the belly just to connect. And when you roll the knees up, try to avoid shifting the hips at the same time. You're just going to draw the leg up first so you can bring the bottom foot to flat. And as you roll up, then you can adjust and uncross the legs. And from here, I like to have a little bit of a stretch and just move my legs like that. Some people like to windshield wiper. Others maybe just like to rest out in between just for a moment before we come over to the other side. So before we do that, if you are using your bolster, you want to put it over across to the opposite side and then bring the feet back to flat. Adjust yourself however you need and then cross the left leg over the right. Lift the hips, take them over to the left, so opposite side, and then allow the knees to roll down. You might want to just adjust where your support is if you're using it. And then just as you did before, just draw the arms out and then turn the head in the opposite direction like so. Close down the eyes. As you can tell, like we keep the narrative as limited as possible so that we've got that time to tune in and connect. Just take some time every now and again to check into any areas that you might need to just make minor adjustments, whether it's in the body or in the face. For me, I notice tension creeping into the jaw sometimes. And then just settle back into that place of stillness. And with the next few breaths, again, just take the head back to center. Draw the arms into center too. Draw the knees towards you so you can connect that bottom foot. And then you can adjust your hips back to center, uncross the legs, and do what you would like to do to release the legs and the spine. And coming over onto one side so that we can bring ourselves back up into an easy seat for a moment whilst we prepare for our last shape, which is going to be similar to our first shape, but coming a little bit more into the shoulders and into the spine, but using the same support. So unlike the kind of grounding energy of the child's pose where the hips come back, we're keeping them high. In yin, this is called our melting heart. If we were in normal flow practice, this would be considered puppy pose. So this is what it looks like. So we're up high and sinking the chest down. So sometimes we do this without the bolster like this, and we come all the way down. But we are wintering and we don't want to go all in. So you could do it without, it's entirely up to you. But we're going to have the bolster there for support. A lot of us carry more shoulder tension than we think. And if you have had a bug recently, your chest will thank you for this too. So just going to work those fingertips out and just work into that fluidity of the spine, just finding a few spinal waves as we navigate into this last shape. And then you can draw it as close towards you as you would like before you rest the head, just like you did in that child's pose shape, but now just coming into the spine, into the shoulders. And if that does feel intense, you can just take the elbows a little bit wider, drawing the arms back. That can help back off the shoulders too. Just find what works for you here. And just settle into the shape as you can, as you navigate. Listen to the body. Anchor into the breath. And just allow yourself to let go a little bit until the body finds the release it needs. Remember those check-ins. Just wiggle the toes, the fingers, relax the tongue, relax the jaw. Anchor back into the breath. before, just creep the hands back. Come out of this slowly. Maybe coming up to hands and knees and just taking a few circles. And from here, we're going to come into Shavasana. I'm going to use my bolster in Shavasana underneath the backs of my knees, because that works for me. And just find your way down. So you come into that space where now we can just fully feel into how our body and our mind might feel after that YIN practice, or as part of the YIN practice, I should say. This is that final journey. It's just kind of leading in, listening and finding the ultimate stillness, which is sometimes the most difficult part. Take a breath into the belly and sigh it all the way out. And just begin to wake up the body, circling out the ankles and wiggling the toes. You might like to draw the arms up overhead and have a stretch. And if you're like me or using a bolster, you can just use your feet to roll it away. Just take yourself over onto your sides and navigate back up into a seat of choice, just so that we can close off this practice together. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. This is how I like to close a YIN. Just honoring the heart center, root center, taking a full breath down and through the entire length of the body and sighing it out. Thank you so much for joining me in this wintering YIN practice. I hope you enjoyed it. Just consider maybe if your environment was right for you and what you might add or indeed take away next time, and see how that adds to your experience. Take care, and I will see you soon.